Hello, ladies. Hope you're having a good day. On day one of our baking, I was going to make the Cardamom Honey Cookies. Um, I've never made them before, but I think they look delicious, and I thought it would be good to try. I always like to try new recipes. I didn't really have grandparents that I baked with, or even my mom. I was always the baker in the house. So whenever it came to treats, once I got old enough is when I started getting involved in making stuff for everyone. Um, so I don't know about you when it comes to baking. I kind of write my recipes out on scrap pieces of paper and just kind of go from there. Um, just one of the things that I like to do. So another thing that I do is I pull out all my ingredients that I need along with the dishes. So for this recipe, it says we need 3 cups of flour. And now usually I use gluten-free, but today I'm going to use this whole wheat all-purpose flour because I need to get rid of it. And maybe I'll only let Olivia eat one and see how she reacts. She's not a celiac, but she does have gluten, maybe some kind of gluten allergy or some sensitivity. I'm not sure what it is, but especially with rye, she definitely coughs a lot. So I like to try to keep it away from her as much as possible. So yeah, I'm going to use 3 cups of the whole wheat all-purpose flour. We need ground cardamom. So I usually just buy a lot of my spices in bulk, and then I just, package them into a little Ziploc if the seal doesn't close. Some salt. Now I have a grinder of sea salt, so I bought the sea salt here, and then I just reuse the grinder so that it's quick and easy, and it's handheld, so it's nice for me. We also need some baking soda, so it's the one that I have from my fridge. I just kind of use it up a little bit each time. And unsalted butter that is room temperature. I left it out last night after we bought it. And we need some honey, so I've got some raw honey. Just a little side note, raw honey is most preferable because it gives you the best nutrient value, but I'll be sending a little tip on that later today. Also, we need 1 large egg, so I have my egg, and the last item is pure vanilla. I just bought Western Family, and it's pure. It's okay. It's all good. Okay, so those are the ingredients that we need, and now we're gonna start mixing everything. Okay, to continue on, so the first ingredient is 3 cups of flour. Now I have a sifter, and I am using the whole wheat. So although I've sifted 2 cups right now, you can see there's a brown coating on the top. Now that's just part of the whole wheat process. It's just a little flakes. You don't have to sift. I like to. It makes it a little bit silky, smoothier. And if you need it for any reason when you're baking for fluffiness, it helps with that. These cookies don't look like they need the fluffiness, but they might go down better with a little texture of being soft, right? So that's my preference. Okay, so I have my 1 cup measuring cup, and so I just scoop it in my bag. Now, to level it off, you just need something flat-edged. Usually you could use like a spatula or something, but I use the back of a butter knife as long as it's pretty straight. And then I just kind of scrape it back into the bag. Might be easier just to dump some out into a bowl and then pour it back into your bag after you're done. So I'm just going to put the 1 cup. This is the last cup. I already did 2 cups already. Then I'm going to put this up to the side. The cardamom, you need 2 teaspoons. I put 1 teaspoon in already. And so I have my measuring spoons. 1 And so I do the same thing with leveling it off. As you can see, I just kind of leave it in the bag, and then I tap it to make sure it's in there, and then I flatten it and dump it in. It's easy. Okay, and then the third ingredient is the salt. Now I've already grinded it because I didn't want to make the sound for you guys. And it asks for half a teaspoon. So, and I was thinking, I already kind of pre-measured it out while grinding it. Okay. Now, a little less isn't going to hurt you, a little more. If you are using sea salt, it's not as salty as table salt. So you can use a little bit more. I don't really like to. I use less, if anything, for salt in all of my cooking. Okay, so there's the salt. And the last one is a 1/4 cup of baking soda. Now for this one, to level off, because I have, I gotta show you, a little lip in the box, I just kind of use that as my leveler instead of trying to get the knife in there, because that's a little small opening. And so I put that in there. Now you just kind of sift away, banging it on your hand. Takes a little bit of time for this whole wheat flour, just because there's a little bit of that whole wheat part that is a little flakier. Yeah, I don't know if you can see that, but there's a bit of stuff, flakes at the bottom. Yeah. So I just pour it in because it's part of the flour. It's not going to hurt anything. Okay. So we would then just need to mix that together. So it says mix the 4 ingredients together. Oh, I was supposed to put this in a different bowl. Oh well. Okay. So because I put this in the wrong bowl, I would suggest you putting yours in the smaller bowl first. Dry mix goes into the small bowl. I'm just going to dump it quickly into the small bowl. Ooh, it smells good. Cardamom has very strong smell. Okay, so there's my mixed dry ingredients. And now I'm going to mix the wet ingredients. Okay. Okay, for the moist or wet ingredients, as they would call them, first we are looking for 1/2 cup of butter. Now, because I bought a whole new, block of butter, I guess you would call it, they do have the measurements on the side, so you can just kind of cut where you need to. They usually mark it 1/4 cup, 1/4 cup, 1/2 cup, and a cup. And I need a cup for this, so I'm just cutting it off. The only thing is then you are left without the top for the rest that you need to put back in the fridge. But I would just carefully peel this off and then use that to kind of protect my butter in there. So you peel this off, try not to get your fingers in it, and dump it in the bowl. And I will use that for later. And then the next thing is the sugar. Now it says 3/4 of a cup of granulated sugar. Now I use palm sugar. It's from coconut. It is a little less sweeter, and I believe it is a little healthier for us. I try to stay away from the granulated sugar as much as I possibly can. The only one that I do tend to use is brown sugar. I will still use that for some of my recipes. So it says that you need 3/4 of a cup. So I've already put 2/4 in, and I just need to do 3. Now, with palm sugar, it's very similar to brown sugar, so you need to pack it in. So I just kind of scoop it, and then I use my hand to push it against the measuring cup. And when it comes in, it's kind of hard like brown sugar, but as soon as it hits, it breaks out. You can see in the bowl there, it's kind of moving around a bit. Okay, so we're supposed to cream this together or beat it. And I don't have any fancy machines for my baking or anything. So I do everything with my hand, and I use a potato masher. It works just as well. You just have to put a little bit more elbow grease. My way of thinking is there's a little bit more of my love in my baking, right? Such hard work goes into it. So I just kind of mix and turn. If you do have a blender, it would be a lot faster. And they do say there's, I guess, some studies with when it comes to baking. They say that, especially this time of year around Christmas, that it helps with anxiety and depression when you do baking, because you are using your hands, you're in control of something, and you're also potentially at the end, you're making something that your loved ones are going to share with you, and so it lifts your spirits a little bit. And so they say when you do use your hands more than the machinery, it helps you out a bit more. So maybe that's why I've always liked to do things by hand when it comes to a lot of my mixing, especially, you know, when you make anything like meatloaf or anything that requires you to get your hands in, mix it good. I like to just take off my rings and just get right in there. Now I'm finding that this is getting too sticky, so I am going to get right in here and stick my hands in. Now, hopefully, if you do this, you've washed your hands, which I have. So, it's all good. Okay. So, I'm getting all of the butter and sugar off of this as much as I possibly can. Put it on the counter, and now I'm going to mix it. And I tend to mix it really with just one hand so that the other hand can turn on the water to clear off anything that I need. Yes, just really mixing it in here. It's supposed to get fluffy, so I'll just keep mixing. After I've mixed this quite a bit, I will use a spoon as well, just to kind of put it in there. I don't know if you can see that. It's looking really goopy, and it feels wonderful in my hand, I have to say. I don't mind this feeling. People might not like it as much, but I don't mind it. Okay, so I'm going to scrape this off my hand with a spoon, my little spatula spoon, I guess it's called. Okay. Now, I don't want to touch this with anything, so I will be rinsing off my hand, but I don't want to record that because it'll be very loud for you guys, so I'll be right back. Okay, so little interruption. Baby woke up, so now I have a little baby. So if you hear some cooing or noises, that would be why. She's down here, or toys jiggling. Yes. And I only have a little bit before the toddler wakes up, so we really got to start moving. Okay, so I have mixed this up a lot more. Looks pretty fluffy to me, as fluffy as you can get it by hand. Now I need to mix in the honey, the egg, and the vanilla. And the honey is a quarter of a cup. Ooh. A quarter of a cup. Let's see. Okay, so I had a bit of an interruption. My baby woke up, so I've changed the baby, washed my hands, we're starting to go. I gotta quickly hurry though because the toddler's gonna be up any time now, and you know what that's like. If anyone's had a toddler, I'm sure you have. Everyone's mom's here. Okay, so I'm going to use a spoon to get the honey out of the container because of course it's a small orifice, and so I need to get this out. Oh, look at that. It's not going to work with this spoon. Okay, it's a bit harder than I anticipated. Okay, so I'm going to use a spoon to get this raw honey out. Okay. This is the first time that I bought this brand of raw honey. It's a little hard, but that's okay. It doesn't mean anything is wrong with it. They say that honey doesn't go bad unless there's water added to it. It will ferment with water, but other than that, it has a pretty long shelf life. So you don't have to worry about, you know, when it hardens. Sometimes when you buy butter that isn't hard and it hardens, it doesn't mean it's bad. Unless, of course, there's been water added. Then you might have it bad honey. So I just make sure that it's got enough. I'm pushing it down into the cup to kind of fill all the holes that are possibly in there. Oh my goodness, this is hard to get out. So hopefully you guys are using a raw honey, but hopefully it's not as hard as this stuff is to get out. Now, because these are cardamom honey cookies, I want to use the right amount of honey. If it was just using the honey as a sweetener, I think I wouldn't worry so much about how much, if it was exact level, but because these are honey cookies, I am going to try to measure out as much as I need. Okay, so I'm going to put this into the mixture. Okay, let's try to get out as much as I can without spending too much time on it. And I just kind of scrape it off the spoon and then off my finger. And there you have it. Okay, I'm just going to quickly rinse my fingers. I got a little bit of water in the sink now. Okay. And we need the egg and 1 teaspoon of vanilla. So I'm just going to do this teaspoon of vanilla. Okay, there's my 1 teaspoon. Okay. And my egg. Now, did you know that if you have 2 eggs and you smash them together on their side, only one will ever break? I test it all the time. And it totally works. Okay. So there you have it. Now I will mix these all together. So it kind of looks like this right now for me because I use the palm sugar. It's brown in color. If you did use granulated sugar, you might still have the kind of the buttery look of the yellow. And that's okay because that's the color of the butter. Okay, scraping the sides to make sure you get all the ingredients in. Mix. Usually when I'm baking, if I'm doing one thing, like baking one thing, like say cupcakes or bread or whatever it is, when I have all the ingredients out, I usually like to put it all away as I'm done with it. But for the purpose of this video, I didn't want to do that because I didn't want the noise factor of me putting all the items away. So my counter is kind of driving me crazy right now. I think I have some OCD tendencies, but that's okay. Okay, so this is pretty well blended now. If you're using a mixer, it probably doesn't take very long with like a hand blender or something.
But doing it by hand with a spoon, you just want to try to make sure that get it mixed in there, especially with my hard honey. I want to make sure that it is really getting in there. I don't want a lob of honey in one spot. I think my little one is filling her diaper. Yay! My husband's laughing at me because I shared that with you. This actually smells really good. I hope when you guys are making your cookies, you enjoy it as well. Okay, so now that it's all mixed together, we gotta get to our dry ingredients and mix that in. So whenever you're doing that, I always kind of do a little bit at a time. You just don't want to like dump the whole thing in. And it says if you're beating this, to do this on a low speed until it's well blended. Now, of course, because I'm doing it by hand, I don't have to worry about what speed necessarily I'm doing it. Of course, you don't want to go too fast because flour will pop up. Okay. Now it should look something like this to begin with. And once it's all mixed in, the color of the wet ingredients will come out. Yeah, see, mine kind of looks like that now. My littlest daughter here, Elizabeth, is started this thing where she likes to cough, pretend cough, just to communicate with you. So you go, and she'll cough back at you. It's kind of cute. You can hear her trying to do it now. Hi. Big smile. Okay, so it kind of looks like that now. It's a bit like pretty thick. So I'm going to add a bit more. Oops, I kind of spilled some. I kind of have a smell like it reminds me a bit of licorice almost. These are going to be interesting. I can't wait to try them. Oh, goodness. Okay. My arm's getting tired, so I'm switching arms. This is the love that goes in, right? Got some good ideas, good recipes, I think, that are coming up in the next few days. Of course, I've got some chocolate things, because I love chocolate. Okay, so it looks like this now. So I'm going to add the last of the dry ingredients. I usually do it in threes. I don't know why, it's just something I do. Okay, so I want to switch hands. Okay, here we go. Now, we need to, once this is all mixed up, we need to put it in the fridge for an hour to an hour and a half. And then we're going to roll it out. And we will put the cookie cutters to them. So if you have cookie cutters, different shapes, whatever you'd like for your holiday cookies. I've got some mini gingerbread boys and girls. I've got some wreaths. I'll wreath, I guess. What else do we have? Oh, I have I have a house. I have a Christmas tree. I'm not sure what we'll use though. I have one more thing, but I don't remember what it is right now. Okay. So, it's getting a little tough for my spoon, so I'm going to get my hands all in there just to make sure that I've got it all mixed in and there isn't any flour that doesn't get properly mixed. Yeah, see there's some flour at the bottom that just wasn't mixing in, so it's good that I'm doing that. And it should be pretty thick because this is something that we are going to be, yeah, so you can see I'm not really getting much on my hands. So that's a good mixture. Oops. Okay. Now, when I put it in the fridge, I'm going to transfer it to a different bowl only because this had some ingredients in the bowl that made it dirty, and I don't like putting it in the fridge and then having that get hard on it. As you can see along the edges of the bowl, there's like flour and stuff kind of stuck. So what I do is I'll put it in the small bowl that we use for the dry ingredients because there's nothing really stuck on that bowl. It looks pretty clean. So I'll just put it in there and I'll cover it. Sometimes I just cover it with a towel, or if you want, you can do saran wrap or something. Just put it in the fridge just to let it get set for the hour that it's needed. Okay, so now it looks like a big ball. Okay, so there we go. So I will put it back on when it comes to rolling out. Oh, you can hear the stomping? That would be the toddler, just in time. Okay, so I will be back, and time lapse of an hour and a half that you won't see. Okay, oh, I can't touch the mouse.